through the dust and the smoke of this man-made hell walked a giant of a man that the miners knew well. Grabbed a sagging timber and gave out with a groan, and like a giant oak tree he just stood there alone. Big John. Big John. Big John. Big Bad John.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hunter Loves Voiceplay podcast, Geoff edition. We are going to be talking about Big Bad John. Now, Big Bad John was a song originally written by Jimmy Dean. So if you don't know who that is, I suggest you look him up and listen to Big Bad John originally. I also need to listen to it a little bit more to get a better understanding of that song from his perspective. But as of right now, I'm glad that I am not a YouTuber reactor, because if I was, I would be just as bad as some of them that just vibe the hell out of the song and not pay attention to all of the stuff that's happening, especially all of like the interaction and the everything. But then, you know, even when I'm doing these and I'm watching the video, I get distracted by Geoff himself because he's such an attractive man. Just putting that out there. So I got my coffee. I figured I needed more coffee because I already did a trial run of this and it sucked. So I figured more coffee is good. And I also took an allergy pill because I was having a real bad morning. So I don't know if I'm getting drowsy because of that. So, you know, if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I apologize. The first sip of gross tasting coffee. It's great. Okay, so let me just kind of focus here. So, Big Bad John. So the first thing that I pick out on when it starts is that we have humming. And it's already harmonious enough that it's just like, this is how we're starting. Just no waiting, no... he's starting to tell the story of the song, right? And then we get into the snaps. There's a lot of snaps involved. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And like this one is like kind of like, it's a continuation of with like 16 tons in the just in the collection of mining songs that Geoff has done. And I always forget about this one. I always forget about it because I had my phase of when it first came out, and then I listened to it on repeat, and it's up to 3 million views now, which I'm super impressed about because it was released a year ago. And I think when I was looking back at my Instagram memories, I saw some of them that from like when I originally posted, and I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this one. I mean, every once in a while, you know, I'll listen to like the karaoke and, you know, the song itself. So yeah, it's a very like spoken storyteller based arrangement, because that is what the song is. It's telling the story about a guy named John who shows up at the mine every day, and he's big giant dude that it's like if you mess with him you're gonna have trouble. And I like the similarities in both songs too, because in 16 tons there is reference to if the left one don't get you, the right one will. And in Big Bad John, there's a reference to a huge right hand sent a Louisiana fella to the promised land. So I don't know if there's any connection between Tennessee Ernie and Jimmy Dean, but there's just that thing. Like, it's talking about violence. It's talking about somebody getting their face punched in, which, you know, is very interesting to me now that I think about it. Yeah, I would be terrible trying to react to this live, because it's just like, oh my god, like, it's just the music just gets you grooving. Like, I was grooving in my seat when I heard this, and like, it's something that you could probably dance to. You could dance horribly to it, but people would think that it was actually, you know, that you would be dancing for real. And it's such a catchy tune. Like, native instruments, I need to just go into their website and just check out their stuff, because it's so catchy. And Geoff has used a lot of native instrument type of stuff in his music. And there's no shortage of low notes in this one, guys. There's no shortage. it surprised me because he didn't actually go as far as I thought he would have. I think, and I'm not even gonna look up the low notes list, but I think like some of them were pretty comfortable at like G, A. You know, like there wasn't really anything that really dropped down into the subharmonics. Like I think he really kept subharmonics out of this one, which, you know, was fine. Because I don't think it really needed subharmonics. I don't really think it needed that. Because you're too busy listening to the story of the song and what's happening to John. So, let me just pull up the lyrics here real quick. Because I think this will kind of make it a little bit easier for me to talk about things. Is Big John based on a true story? Might be. There were many people who were in mines and who didn't make it out alive. That's just how it was at the time. A selfless figure, but not much detail is given about him. Okay, first verse is, every morning at the mine you could see him arrive. He stood 6'6", weighed 245, kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip, and everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John. And like with this one, you could just do anything to it. Like you could pick up a speed, you could slow it down, you could speed it up. It's just the way that how the song is. So we get into the chorus and it's like, Big John. I'm terrible because this allergy pill is like whipping my butt right now. Apologies. So we get into verse 2, which is, nobody seemed to know where John called home. He just drifted into town and stayed all alone. He didn't say much, kind of quiet and shy. And if you spoke at all, you just said hi to Big John. So in Geoff's version, it's very spoken. And, but I also love how he just kind of goes on quiet and shy, and he just has that kind of like raspy whisper, and it's really good too. And if you spoke at all, you just said hi to Big John. And the harmonies in the background are just, he just sounds so good with harmonizing with himself, Geoff does. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and then we get into verse 3, which is, somebody said he came from New Orleans, where he got into a fight over a Cajun queen, and a crashing blow from a huge right hand sent a Louisiana fella to the promised land, Big John. Come on. I can't believe that one man can say the word come on and make it sound so attractive. It's like, God damn it. And it's becoming a repetitive trope in Geoff's songs. It's like, we're waiting for it. Like, whenever he puts out a new release, we're like, where is it? Where is it? That's always fun. So then we get into the chorus, which is, Big John. I'm not even gonna sing right now. But Geoff also goes like, Big John. Like, he's everywhere. He's like, So, and I think there's a couple low notes in there. I cannot sing because, like I said, this allergy pill is driving me nuts. Verse 4 and verse 5 are pretty much my favorites because, it's storytell. It's just telling his story. And so it's like, but then came the day at the bottom of the mine when a timber cracked and men started crying. Miners were praying and hearts beat fast, and everybody thought they'd breathe their last. Except John. And there's a lot of oohing, and like the harmonies in the back are just always so nice. Oh, there's 6 verses, 7 verses, 8. I'm sorry. There are a lot of verses in the song. I did not realize that. It's a longer song, and like we get the chorus again. Okay, yeah, this one is fun. So after we get through the dust and the smoke of this man-made hell, this is where like you kind of just start like vibing out to it, because it's kind of like just like that hip-hop feel. Like it's just like, through the dust and the smoke of this man-made hell walked a giant of a man that the miners knew well, grabbed a sagging timber, gave out with a groan, and like a giant oak tree just stood there alone, Big John. And then we have those gorgeous harmonies out of Geoff at the back, and then we get to and then Geoff goes, whoa, and with all of his strength he gave a mighty shove, then a miner yelled out. I love how he says miner. It's like like he has like the like he just has that in there. Just perfect pronunciation. And then there's like harmonies on "There's a light up above," and then we're back into the narration part of it. And 20 men scrambled from a would-be grave. There's only one left down there to save. Big John, Big John, Big Geoff. So the story is basically telling you that it's like John is stuck. Like, he is the last person to get out of here. Like, he's basically saying, like, I've got this. You guys get the hell out. Like, if you guys can survive, I will stay in here. And so, like, we kind of get into, like, this more kind of, like, catchy part in this whole entire thing. And then it doesn't slow, but it stays with the same tempo at kind of as the beginning. And so it's like, with jacks and timbers, they started back down. Then came that rumble way down in the ground, and the smoke and gas belched out of that mine. Everybody knew it was the end of the line for John. He took out the Big John for there, which, you know, I find was pretty easy because it just kind of summed it up a little bit. And there, he took out the chorus, but the humming still carries on with the chorus. And then this is the part that gets me, because when it was released on Patreon, you didn't see this in the original. There was nothing that had happened with this. But once it came out on YouTube, as you're watching it, there's glitches. He inserted glitch into the production, the production of the video. And it's crazy because it's like watching it through Patreon, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. Because I think he had used different footage too. He used a bit different footage from what I remember. And then it's like just sitting there on YouTube, I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? Like, it's my laptop basically dying? But that was the gimmick. He wanted to throw that in just to give it a little bit of like that horror, that's scary. And I'm like, that's terrifying. And it's like every couple seconds when he's through verse 8, it's like, oh my god. So we get into, now they never reopened that worthless pit. And the harmonies are like, whoa. They just placed a marble slab in front of it. Whoa. And these few words are written on that stand. And we have humming. And it's like, oh, like it just... Well, like even before, like you hear... Like everybody knew it was the end of the line for John. And like you hear... Ooh, ooh, no, they never reopened that worthless pit. So, like, that's kind of the transition there. And Geoff is by himself. His clones are gone. And it's like, oh, crap. It's like, he's a ghost. But that also brings that element of, like, crap. He died. John died. And it's like, that is crazy. I mean, like, you kind of already know that he's died, but it's just like the artistic expression in this was like super, super fun. So I appreciate the twist right there. So it's like, and these few words are written on that stand. At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man. And like, as he's saying big, big, it's big, zoom in, big, zoom in, and then man. And then we get back into Big John, big. Oh my god, my voice is just, I'm cutting all this out. It's terrible. And then so he says big, bad, and then he goes into Geoff. Like, it's just that fabulous, I think it's an A or a G. I can't remember. It's a lot better than mine, honestly. But I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, it's just, it's a vocal punch, really. Something that this song actually needed. And, you know, he says his patented, yeah. And, like, you kind of just get back into vibing a little bit, like, even at the end. Because it's like, you got guitars and you got, you know, snaps. It's just a very catchy interpretation of this song. Like, keeping true to Jimmy Dean, but also just throwing in a little bit more of Geoff's style, and that's what Geoff is known for. But the harmonies at the end of this, I absolutely love it. Like, if there was nothing else that I could point out of this song, it's just like, Big John, Big John, Big John, Big John. It's just, his harmonies are just, dude, you harmonize with yourself so beautifully. It's crazy to me. But yeah, the harmonies at that specific spot, just, I'm glad I picked up on those, because the first time I didn't, and I am just like, oh my god. And then there's some interesting tropes in the video too. Let me just go back to the video real quick. So we have narrator Geoff, who's wearing the kind of dusky green, kind of, I wouldn't say it's green, it's like kind of more gray, a shirt. And then we got two other Big Bad John looking Geoffs, I guess, if you could say that. They're in black tops, biceps protruding everywhere. Just saying. I know that Geoff is a little self-conscious about his biceps, but damn, you don't need to hide them, buddy. Trust me. Then we have 16 tons Geoff. That's what I call him, because he's wearing the same shirt as he did with 16 tons, which I think was perfect, because it's like an homage to 16 tons. So, I'm glad that he put that in there. I hope that I haven't rambled too much in this episode. I feel like I have. I mean, the coffee and allergy medication does not help at all. But it was funny because somebody had pointed out that it was like, there's just something about Geoff in a relaxed physique in a muscle shirt that just screams, it screams attraction. And as I'm watching this one, I'm like, I completely get it. Like, I see it. Like, it is just, he's relaxed, there's not, there's just no tension happening, and it's like, you just look at those shoulders, and you're like, oh, God. At least I do. I don't know about you, but he is a very attractive, he's just attractive, plain and simple. There's no flaw in him at all. I mean, not that I have seen. I probably have said this before, but anyway. Let me talk about the set real quick. It's fun because it was a very quick thing that they had to do. They had to kind of go through it really quickly. So we have a lantern. The little cup thingy that if you were in jail, you'd in the olden days, you'd trace that thing across the cell, being like, hey, warden, give me water, let me out of here, blah, blah. We have a staircase. Which I think was the same one in 16 tons. I could be wrong, because that specific stairwell is sideways behind him. The lighting is different. We got bigger lights, but it still works. I mean, we didn't have all of the light bulbs, but we have the sledgehammer, we have the pickaxe, the shovel is in the shot. You have to look for it. It's a hidden Easter egg, but once you find it, you're like, oh, it's there. I don't know about, what else did we have in there? Yeah, there's the shovel. I can't remember. Did he just have the pickaxe and the sledgehammer and the shovel? I mean, I know that there was another one that he had there, but I can't remember what the other one was. Oh well. But yes, I'm watching this with it muted right now, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, he's also wearing his watch on the inside of his wrist, as opposed to on the outside. Because you didn't have smart watches back then, and I don't even know why you would want to wear a watch, because it would just get dirty. And I can't even picture myself being in a mine. I mean, I have slight claustrophobia. I've gotten better over it in recent years, but being in confined spaces where it's dark and just not knowing if I'm going to survive, ugh, no thanks. Yeah, we have a bucket. Like, this is the thing that it's like, you have to go and you have to watch his videos on mute, because if you're listening just straight to the music, you're going to vibe the hell out of this, and now you're going to miss everything. Kind of like I do. There's two shovels. There's one by narrator Geoff, And then there's one by, like the farthest at the left, I guess. Not Geoff's left, my left. Well, Geoff's right, I guess. But it would be my left from looking at it this particular point. Yeah, it's interesting. They shot this in a storage area of Patty Cake Productions. And I just find it's funny because he had to move around so much stuff just to get it done. And the behind the scenes is cute too because William is trying to pull. He's trying to pull, I think it was like the sledgehammer, and he's dragging it across the ground. And just the sound of, kind of like the bat in Seven Nation Army. Just picture that sound of the bat dragging across the floor. Except it's, oh my god, how old was he? He was 5? No. Yeah, he was 5. And just dragging it across bricks. And then he tried to get it through the doggy door of, I guess, Grandpa's house. And it's like, I applaud him for trying, but no, William, that's not gonna work. But yeah, it was it was an adorable. I need to go back and watch the behind the scenes because it's like they work so hard. Kathy worked her tail off being a camera lady. Yeah, it's like, at the bottom of this mine lies a big man. Big Bad John was highly requested, and I hope I've given Jimmy Dean's tune a little extra love and fresh air with his reimagining of it. I love when he says reimagining, because he just takes it and he puts his own twist on things. And it just, like, again, it just brings it more life, gives it more, just gives it fresh air. So Big Bad John was a Grammy-winning number 1 hit in 1961. And yes, Jimmy Dean was known as the Sausage Guy. And it sticks with you. When you listen to it, it really does stick with you. Yeah, like I said in the beginning of this, if you haven't heard the original, do yourself a favor and seek it out. Hope you enjoyed this updated version of it. There's a... What? Somebody remixed the video with footage of a spider? Using the song? What in the... Okay, I'm not even going to click on that, because it's spiders, and I just go, nope. I'm curious, but nope. And yeah, I was glad that this one was a little bit more simple for Geoff to do. Like, just no crazy subharmonics, just kind of at the bottom of his range. And, that's where he would stop. Like, he's like, I don't really need a subharmonic here. So, it was a good creative choice. So, all of that being said, I hope I did well with this episode. Probably when I cut this down, it's going to be shorter and it's probably going to sound like crap. But anyway, I've tried to get my points across. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Send me a like, a comment, stuff like that. All of that helps the channel. I love you guys to pieces. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Good Lord, I need a nap.